Let me show you how you can make stuff like this at home in a microwave. Head on over to Amazon and pick up your microwave kiln. I like the large size. In fact, get 3. That way you can rotate them out. If you pick up the smaller kiln, it'll sometimes come with fiber papers. Don't fire with the fiber papers. You're wasting material, and it just creates a powdery mess. Here's the clay that I like to use. It's a mid-fire clay. It's stoneware. It's light. Your glazes are going to show up better with this clay. And speaking of glazes, this is the glaze that most people use. You don't need a clear glaze if you use this glaze. And here are the gloves that I use. And now let's get into the bisque right away. All right, so today I'm gonna do a bisque fire, and I made a bunch of tiny test tiles to put on the caps of my glaze bottles. And the ones that are not stacked are the ones that have a gloss to them. So I don't want them touching anything. And the ones that are stacked, they're fine. It's underglaze and it could be stacked. So anyhow, what I do is I preheat the empty kiln for 2 minutes, and then I'll put it on top. And I do that a couple times so that I know that the pieces are completely dry. This is my preheat process. And what I'll do is I'll touch the pieces, and if they're too hot to touch, then I know it's good to go into the microwave for firing. Okay, so this has been fired for 2 minutes, and so then I'm just going to use the lid and I'm going to stick it on top. And then sometimes I trap in the heat. I just have a bunch of cookies on here, and cookies are just bisque clay. Some of them I put kiln wash on, and what kiln wash will do is if you get glaze on there, you can wipe it off. And let's see, what else? Oh, let's talk about some safety stuff. I bought this fiber fire blanket. I thought that would be good to have in case of an emergency. Probably not so much in this scenario, but you never know. Definitely for raku. I put these on cookie trays with a rack. Even though this table is metal and tile, I could probably set it on there, but personally, I kind of like to have it lifted up because it's easier to lift with these gloves. These are barbecue gloves. You want to get these. They're gonna protect your hands in case, let's say, the lid knocks off and it's in a higher, like, bisque fire or a glaze fire. You know, you want something to protect your hands. And I always make sure that I wear shoes, not sandals, and I have long sleeves on, just because, you know, you don't want to burn yourself. And then I do have safety glasses. I'll show you the safety glasses later. I really don't look at the glow that comes out of the hole, this hole right here, because I know my timings. In the beginnings, I did, and you do want to be careful because it can damage your eyesight if you look at it too long. For me, what I figured out, because I have lens implants, it was, in the beginning, drying out my eyes, and I didn't realize it, and I thought I screwed up my eyesight. Thankfully, it recovered like 24 hours later, but that's when I started to realize it's the heat that's coming out of there that's drying out my eyesight. I have a lens with UV protection. That doesn't mean that I can just stare at these things. I still wear special glasses, not just because you wear UV sunglasses. That's not what you want. But I'm going to show you the glasses I have. You want shade 2, and that's going to protect your eyes from the the UV intensity, okay? Because you can damage your eyes. So we want to be careful. This stuff is all fun and games until something goes wrong. So I usually wait a couple minutes and let it intensify. And then what I'll do is I'll take this and I will heat this up. And I number my kilns. I have 4 kilns now. But I number my kilns so that I can kind of, I'll rotate them, as you can see. But I like to fire them with a long time firing, like a bisque or a glaze, with the same lids and bottoms. So that's why I number them. And I just use a Sharpie. Yeah, see, at this point I check it and see how I can touch it still. So it's not ready. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, I don't, a lot of people, what they do when they do the microwave is they will do it for 5 minutes, open it up, take the microwave lid, rotate it. I used to do that in the beginning because everybody said to do that, but actually I feel like doing that was actually creating, you're going to get cracks no matter what, but I felt like it was making the cracks happen sooner. And so and it's like, you know, then you're creating a temperature fluctuation even more. So I stopped doing that because you know, it's unnecessary. And I've been doing this for a while now. I probably have 40 to 50 firings under my belt. And you know, you don't need to do the lift every 5 minutes and lift and turn. So I just make sure that the pieces are really dried out. In fact, I just recently put another coat of underglaze on one of the pieces. So I really want to make sure it's dried out. If you have thick-walled pieces, especially, I've done a couple pieces where my pieces are really thick, and even having it sitting out for weeks, it still kind of blew up. So my recommendation is, if you do thick pieces, hollow it out. Otherwise it's going to blow up or explode. And I used to think that if I was able to get past the minute mark in the microwave, my pieces are good. But recently I had a piece going in for 6 minutes and it exploded. And it was a thick piece. So just be careful of that. And drying it out, moisture is going to be your enemy in this game. And even in a kiln. If you have moisture, it's going to create, you know, an explosion and your pieces are going to break. So be patient. Make sure you thoroughly dry it out. And thick pieces, hollow out. This is my test little dish for my speedball underglazes. And now I'm doing test tiles for like these guys. So I'm just going to glue them on top so I can see what they look like. Okay, so we're going to lift this up. It's been probably 5 minutes. And yeah, oh, one of these already broke. Anyways, they're ready to go. They're too hot for me to keep my finger on there. So we're going to go ahead and, oh, I should check the big one, this guy. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and set that in there. And I do it for 1 minute because I like to start it off a little slow. Okay, so now I'm going to do 2 minutes. By the way, I got this microwave at Walmart for like $83. And then I got this rack at Home Depot for, I think, $40. And then I got the toaster oven, but guess what? That method I just showed you on preheating using the kilns, the extra kilns, you really don't need this. doing it the way that I just showed you is faster, way faster. Otherwise you'd have to put it in here for like a few hours on a low setting, and I just find the way I just showed you to be so much easier and quicker and better. Okay, so that's done. So now I'm gonna do 12 minutes because my bisque, I usually do a total of 15 minutes. And you definitely want this to be outside. I mean, I can already smell fumes. And so I always try to sit away from where the fumes are. This is my vent right here. So I try to sit away from it. Usually I'm over here. But, you know, being outside helps. I would not recommend doing this inside because, you know, you don't know what those fumes are. And better safe than sorry. Okay, so while that's going through the bisque period, I thought I'd show you the example of the blowout that I had at the 6-minute mark, which was really probably 8 minutes because I did the 1 minute, 2 minute, and then it was going for the bisque firing, and it just exploded. So originally I had a bottom on here, and it was probably about that thick, and that blew out. And then you'll see right here where it totally blew out this side part, and that was at the 6-minute mark that it did that. So anyhow, I usually try to use everything as an experiment. I'm definitely not one who's afraid of failure. And so what I did was I proceeded, I collected all the pieces after the bisque firing, and I went ahead and glued it, in quotes, using Bisque Fix, and or maybe it's called Bisque Mender. It's by Mako. And then I also glazed it. So the glazing sometimes could be a glue for you. So I just wanted to see what it would look like, and it still looks good. I mean, from this perspective, it looks good. And I'm probably going to use this as continue to use it as a yard ornament. I'll probably make a backing for it, and then put a stick in it, and then call it a day. Because it, you know, it took a long time to make this, and I don't want to waste glaze or clay. Okay, time's up. So definitely put the gloves on. And see how easy it's going to be to grab the top and the bottom. Okay, you can look in the top hole. I don't look. But it should be like a glowing orange, yellow color. Definitely in a glaze it does that, but I always put something to cover it. And then I just let this sit for a while because it needs to cool down as slow as it can possibly cool down. All right, so art in clay is so much fun. I'm loving it. I like the useful aspect of it. I like the sculptural aspect of it, that it's a tangible item that you can touch and feel and see. And clay is awesome for the garden. It's one material that doesn't degrade. If you clay and glass, even metal, it depends on what kind of metal. I have a lot of yard type of stuff, and if it's a cheap metal, it corrodes. So that is why I like the clay, and then I can make it to my specifications. But anyways, one thing that I made is this cute little whale, and people like these things. I mean, my family's going nuts. They want me to make them all kinds of things, and so they're keeping me busy. But isn't this cute? I make this for my friends. We're going on a cruise to Alaska, and so this is this is going to be a gift. Not part of, but this is the gift I'm going to give them as a little keepsake. Isn't this cute? I'm not sure if I'm going to make them all the same thing. I haven't decided yet, or if I'll do just different animals. But and on the back, I put Alaska with the year, and here's an example of how you can hollow out something. So that's just going to help the piece dry. I might have even cut off the top, scooped out some of it. It's been a long time since I made it. It's been a couple months, so I don't remember if I did that, but you can definitely personalize stuff. And then, you know, I made this little itty bitty stamp. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to film. This is the downside of filming outside. So yeah, so you can personalize it, and I put in the place and then the year, and then I made this little itty bitty heart. Another thing that I've made, I recently bought a flame. I hope you can't hear that barking dog. Anyways, I recently bought a little tabletop flame thing. Fire pit, I guess. It's small. It's only like this big, and you fill it with the rubbing alcohol, and I used it in Palm Springs, and it's awesome. So then I thought to myself, we need to do s'mores. And so I made, I found these skewers at Daiso. It came with 3 of them, and there was no handle at the end. Let's see if I can, no, I don't think I could take it off. But anyways, so this was blank, and then I made this little clay handle. So cute. And I also made, can you tell what that is? Marshmallows. So cute. I can't wait to use them and go out this weekend and bring these along and roast some s'mores. So yeah, I love that aspect of clay. You could basically make whatever you want. It's unlimited, right? And you can customize it to what you like. And that's why I create, is because I like things to be specific to what I want, how I want it. And, you know, now with these microwave kilns, clay is available, ceramics is available to everyone, and it's more durable than air-dried clay. I did buy some air-dried clay, and I'm gonna use it for certain things. Like, I want to make barrettes, and I thought it's going to be more lightweight than clay. Not that, you know, you could probably make things lightweight. But having clay available to everyone, regardless, I mean, having a kiln is, you know, you think, okay, I'll spend a couple $1,000s up front, but it's a lot more than that. You have to maintain it. You have to buy the kiln furniture. You have to buy shelving. You have to change out the elements every, like, depending on your usage of it, but it could be every 6 months. And you also have to fire a full kiln. You can't just have a few items and fire a kiln. So, you know, you have to think about kiln size. And so I think I've got the best of both worlds, where I have access to a community group, as well as, so I can do bigger pieces, and then I can fire things at home and make things at home, and I don't have a time limit or any constraints, and I can experiment, and I can just try to do different things. If you saw my tile pieces, they're really, really thin. I probably couldn't do, maybe I could do thin pieces like that because they're small, but if I wanted to do bigger, thinner pieces, that would not survive in a community kiln. Plus, you are then having to deal with everybody else and what they use in terms of, you know, maybe they'll do projects that are too thick and explode, or their glazes run onto yours. So you're, you know, you've got all those extraneous circumstances involved where you can control what you're putting into your little kiln. And don't start off with a small kiln. Everybody wants to start off with a small kiln. No, go with a larger kiln. You could do a lot more with it. You're wasting energy otherwise. And they say, oh, it takes so much longer. Okay, 20 minutes for a glaze firing is not that long versus 7. Come on, give me a break. When you can get more pieces in, that little kiln is tiny. There's not much space. So do yourself a favor and get the bigger kiln. Now, as you're cooling down your pieces, I don't know if you could hear, sometimes you'll hear crackling and popping, and that's your kiln. It's shifting because of the, you know, expansion. So when it heats up and cools down, things are contracting and expanding in there. And like I said, cracks are going to happen. I don't think you can get away from the cracking, but I've put up a video on how to fix the cracking. Okay, so I think I'm going to start venting this. I try to utilize everything. Say I've got this mold that I'm making, putting it on top because this is hot. But to vent, put my glove on, and I just take my little pieces of the cookies, try to get them, it's not a big deal whether they're even or not. And I'll lift this side, and that's how I vent. You could vent a little faster. All right, let's go see this big reveal. Ta-da! I'm gonna put this lid over this. Okay. Oh, wow, look how cute this all turned out. Oh, okay, so this is the speckle stuff, and this is kind of like a single fire thing. It's underglaze, but you can also get your stuff to bisque and basically glaze at the same time. So that's why they call it single fire. But this back part is just underglaze. And so to make, if I wanted this to be shiny, and I don't have to make it shiny, but if I wanted to, I would have to put glaze on that. And you could see all the ones that were single fire, which I really like that. I might have to buy more of these. I got all this stuff on my field trip to Aardvark. Okay, and this turned out really good. These are my glaze test pieces, and they turned out really good. And then I just made a bunch of test pieces for future stuff. So really, really good. All right. When you do your test tiles, it's probably always a good idea to do a texture so that you can see what it will look like, your glaze, when it's on a textured surface. And it does some cool stuff, like see how it kind of pools. In other words, there's like a little, it's heavier application on the textured portion. And then this pulled away. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was too heavy of an application, but that happens sometimes. So just be aware. I always like things from, I don't necessarily always need things to be a solid color, but interesting. And it's interesting that this one, the little specks are blue. That's what I put on here. Now, if I were to have stacked tiles on top of these, they would have stuck together. So whenever you do glaze, you want to make sure that they're not touching, and you don't put glaze on the bottom of your pieces because you don't want them sticking to your kiln. But as you can see here with the underglaze, when it's just strictly underglaze, you can see I can move these things, and you can stack things in a bisque fire. And that's what's cool about a bisque fire, as long as they're air. We did have one casualty here, not sure what happened, but probably when I roll out, sometimes I will reuse the clay and I might not get all the air out, so that's okay. I could still use this little chunk. But very nice, and look how fast it was to do this. Look, I did another firing really quick of the test tiles, and that blue turned out. So this just proves that you can get to a cone 6. People say you can't, Well, this is a cone 6 type of glaze, and before and now I got my nice shiny blue. So this was a 06, which was kind of like a bisque. And if it was 10, then it would be navy metallic. So maybe if I fired, I didn't fire this very long. I think I did it 11, 12 minutes. And then what I did differently is I kept it in the microwave with the door open slightly. So that might have worked, because I didn't want to do it for a full 20 because they're such small pieces. But anyhow, there you go. Proof. I love making pottery at home, and I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help you out. Until the next time, take care.